Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk Wednesdays. For those of you that still have never came across one of our lives, I'm going to do the pleasure of introducing myself and give you a little bit of information about what Let's Talk Wednesdays are about. So my name is Shanique Collins, and I am the CEO and family advocate of the G.R.A.C.E agency, where we advocate for families that have child welfare cases. We also help fathers to gain paternal rights to their children through legitimation and other court petitions. Y'all, we don't just do legitimation. We do modification of child support, modification of custody. We do third party custody. And that is similar to when a child has been left with a grandparent, an aunt, or uncle, and they are in need of legal paperwork concerning that child. We also do paternity. We do contempt. And contempt is when you have a current court order in place, but that order has been violated. We do that as well. Also, sorry, let me get this angle right. Also, you all, we help to bring information to the community about local resources. And we do that through what's called our Let's Talk Wednesdays. And on our Let's Talk Wednesdays, we feature a different business, organization, or agency where we're able to allow them to talk about the resources and the services that they have to offer so that you all in the community can be aware, because you never know when you might be on the other side of things, right? Where you might need transportation, or you might need housing, or you might need food assistance, right? Or you might need shelter. We just all know about the hurricanes that just ran through Florida, right? And so many people that were stable in their homes, stable with employment, had to actually end up evacuating the area or staying, and now their home might be ruined and they have to wait for, insurance to kick in and all those things, right? Because things happen unexpectedly to all of us. There's none of us that are exempt from experiencing the trials and tribulations of life. So, you all, that is what we do here every Wednesday. But if you find yourself needing an advocate for a defects case that you have or somebody else may have in your family, a friend or someone else you may know or not know. Also, if you find yourself needing help with any court petitions or just needing some advice or, just direction on where to go, definitely give us a call at 678-729-7261. And then, or you can email us at Collins@gmail.com. And I'm going to spell that for you all. It's M as in Mary, ELSHANIQUE, Collins@gmail.com. Or you can visit our website, which is www.grace-ga.com. And when you go on that website, there's some buttons that you will see that will say free consultation or book now. Click either one of those buttons. It's okay. It comes to the same person. Put your information in there and it'll be sent to me. And you all, I do free consultations, right? So we do free 30-minute consultations where we talk about the issue at hand. And then I myself will let you know how we will be able to assist you. And if in fact we are not, which that's very rare, but if we are not able to assist you, we will connect you with another service provider in the community that can do so. Okay. So again, you all, that is grace-ga.com. That's where you can find me, or you can find me on my social media, which is Giving Respect and Compassion Every Day on Facebook, or you can find me on Instagram at G.R.A.C.E.LLC, and you can send me a message there as well. So without further ado, you all, we are going to get started on our Let's Talk Wednesday today, and it is a pleasure of mine to have this person on our Let's Talk Wednesday. And I'm going to do a brief introduction of who I feel like she is, and I'll let her speak for herself. But you all, she is a gem in the community. When I say she's one of the people that are really out here doing this work, she's one of the people that are really out here doing this work, whether it is feeding the homeless, whether it is, advocating. There was something that I've never even heard of that was called like Free Fridge or somewhere that was in the community, that was a place where people could literally drop off food, and people that were in need that knew where it was could go and get that food. And recently they've taken them out of the community for whatever the reason is. And I mean, she's just on top of it, you all. She's just always making sure that she's raising money for families day in and day out that are leaving domestic violence situations, that, have lost their employment, that are in need of housing, or, in need of resources. Y'all, she's out here doing the work. And so I thought that it would be a joy for you all to find out who she is if you don't know, and also contribute. Right? Donate whatever you have: clothes, food, time, resources, whatever you have, donate. So I'm not going to say any more about her. I'm going to get her on here to introduce herself, you all. She is really a gem. So give me 1 second. All right. There she is, Miss Sherri McCoy. How are you?
Hello, Miss Collins. How you doing today, girl?
I am good. I am good. I just literally had to give an introduction for you because I watch you all the time. And y'all, I found her. I always give a little bit of background information on how I find people. But I found her, you all. She just came across my Facebook page probably months ago. And I just started watching her, like her lives and the things that she's advocating for, and the resources. And y'all, she really has a heart for the community. And so I felt like it would be great for her to speak about who she is, what she does. And if you all have a heart, contribute, donate, because she's not one of the ones. She's really out here doing this work. So Miss Sherri, I am going to let you introduce yourself.
Well, hi. You pretty much already done that. I am Sherri. I always tell people that I am the second founder of Blessing Bags of Warmth. The original founder was my daughter, Rose, when she was 8 years old. She is the one that, after years of watching mommy volunteer and even volunteering with mommy, she's the one that said, I want to do more of this. So that's why I always say she's the mini founder, I'm the founder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Miss Sherri, I see you do so much. Even when the hurricanes just came through, and you were, and even when it came through Georgia and Helene, and you were literally riding through the streets, and anybody you was finding, like, I mean, just doing so much. Tell us, how did this initiative start? Like, where did this passion and this heart come from?
It started with a little old 4 foot, 8 foot tall lady by the name of Louise White. My grandmother, she transitioned from this life at 102 years old in
Wow.
2022. But
Wow.
before that, she was quite the firecracker, and the firecracker for love and helping and just community. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I went with my grandmother to help someone in need. Um, I always tell this story though, for what um, led to my heart for primarily unhoused individuals, is my grandmother would always say we were going to pay the water bill. And what a lot of people don't realize, in the city of Atlanta, you used to have to pay your water bill downtown, right by the Capitol building.
Mm-hmm.
And we would get on the MARTA train and go downtown to pay the water bill, sometimes 3 times a month. And I didn't understand as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Along, we would take sandwiches. She would go to Wayfield Foods and pick up or worst or something like that. And it makes sandwiches. We go over to the old bakery off of Moreland and pick up bread, usually discounted bread, make sandwiches. She would wrap it in, we have a little aluminum foil, but she would wrap it in comic section of newspapers. Like, she would save the comic section through the week, and we'd wrap 15, 20 sandwiches, and she would hand those out to unhoused individuals as we were walking to pay the water bill. A friend of hers
Wow.
worked at a friend of hers worked at the payment place near the Capitol, and so I did not realize, even as a small child, I was like 6, 7 years old, we were feeding the unhoused, and here we are, 40 odd years later, and still doing the same thing. And a lot of that started with her.
Wow, wow, that is awesome. So, what made you take on that same sentiment, right? Because sometimes we're raised to be givers or we're raised to do certain things and then you just don't carry it on. But this is in order to do what you do, it has to be in your heart, right? There's no way that you could be, in the streets day in and day out if this isn't in you. So, what made you carry on or let your grandmother pass you that baton and then you wear it so proudly?
It's a love of mine. It's a passion of mine. There's an old saying that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm,
Now, my first love, my first career choice when I was much younger is I wanted to be a teacher. I loved my teachers. My teachers played such an integral part in forming who I am. My upbringing was not the best.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I found peace and happiness at school. My teachers would allow me to, I was what a lot of people call a teacher's pet. I was
mm-hmm.
the one that got to erase the board and I helped pass out the papers and but I loved doing that. And I said I wanted to be a teacher. And I did teach. I taught for many years. Even when I was teaching, I always volunteered somewhere. I would volunteer with Hosea Feed the Hungry. I was happy to be, and I grew up with Hosea Williams because my grandmother was a seamstress and she would help do his overalls. She would get his overalls.
Wow.
So I met Hosea Williams. I grew up in a community of Edgewood,
Mm-hmm.
in East Atlanta. So I just grew up around a lot of helpers, and it fulfills me to do this. It's not, there's no, there just really isn't, I don't see myself doing anything else. Let's just say that. Even the thought of, I am in the process of looking for like a part-time job just to have a little extra income coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for part-time jobs doing the exact same thing I'm doing because I
Right,
love doing it. It's a
right.
passion. Passion.
Awesome, awesome. So what are some goals or some initiatives of Blessing Bags of Warren?
So our current goals are really focusing on families that are experiencing homelessness. Um, the original Blessing Bags of Warmth was, it was based on individuals on the street. And
Mm-hmm.
we still provide resources and we still provide items to those that are directly on the street. I was out until about 2 a.m. this morning, making sure I had some extra blankets and sleeping bags. So I went and checked on a few of our community members that are still living on the street because I knew the temperature was dropping. But in doing my standard outreach from 2020 and 2021, when 2022 hit, I started noticing many families,
Mm-hmm.
too many families for me to, I could not sleep at night knowing that I had given food to a mother and 4 kids sleeping in a car.
Mm-hmm.
I could not, I couldn't, I just couldn't. I couldn't know that a mom lost her job because she was evicted, it not evicted and then lost her, not lost her job and then evicted. No, she was evicted. And because she wasn't able to go to work, she had to drive around with her kids in her car. She didn't have childcare. She then lost her job. So now you have
Wow.
a family completely dependent on resources that many times are very limited or have
Mm-hmm.
very long wait lists. And I couldn't stand by and know that these families, I'm like, okay, what can I do, Sherri? What can you do? And that's where the hand up, that's what we call our program. We call it a hand up because a lot of times people think you're giving someone money or you're paying for a hotel, that's a handout.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it that way. I see it as a hand up. If you do it too much, it does become enabling. But
Right.
if you find a family that has just falling on hard times and they need that hand up maybe a week or two just to get back to work or to get that paycheck, just enough to get out of the hole they're in. They need a hand up out of that hole, off that ground.
Mm.
So that's really what it is. And our goals are really just to continue to be able to do that while at the same time bringing attention to the fact that this is going on. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, and I understand. I see some of the comments, and I'll admit I get some inbox concerns. Oh, you're paying for hotels for people. They're going on vacation. That's like you're paying for their vacations. No, I'm not. I'm not paying for anyone's vacation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying for people and families to be safe. I'm making sure that these families, and so the goal is to get the word out there. It's like, this is not some luxurious hotel that I'm checking someone into. I'm helping to provide basic
Mm-hmm.
shelter, the basic, just the basics, and get the word out there and let people know. So the goal is to do that. Blessing Bags of Warmth, thanks to the generosity of a community member that owned a pad split home. He decided that he was closing his pad split, and he's like, Sherri, we have this property. Instead of me just allowing this house to sit here, let's put people in it.
Is this
So
the Star House that I
this
see you featuring?
this
Oh my
this is the
God.
Star House. It is a 4-bedroom home. It's already set up roommate style. So each family has their own room. Um, and we currently have 3 families. We have a 4th family, a mother and a daughter that we're moving in. And yeah, it's awesome. This is showing me, because another one of my goals is to do the same. I'd love to get a property, because my thought process is if more people could just work together.
Yes.
We've gotten away from that village mentality of, working together.
Yep.
And it's there. It's if we work together, we could accomplish so much more, so much more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, with you saying that there's so many people that are in need of help, and you started to see a trend of it escalating to being not
Mhm.
just individuals, but families, what are some challenges that you face with trying to help these families?
Of course, finances are in not just ours with fundraising, but even with the families, helping these families to find employment
Mm-hmm.
that will sustain them in today's economic climate. I do work with other organizations, and our constant conversation is, okay, great, we've got this family mom is working. Where can we get her? And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, but she's only making 1,800 a month. The
Mm,
typical 2-bedroom apartment in not even the best neighborhood, just in a somewhat decent neighborhood, is going to run 1,800, 2,000 a month.
right.
Most landlords, most apartment communities require that you earn at least 2.5 times the rent.
Yeah.
So that unfortunately is the biggest barrier for most of our
Mhm.
families is they're working. I have a
Right.
mom that I'm working with currently. She has 2 jobs. And even with 2 jobs, even working 8 hours on one job, 5 hours on the other job, sometimes in the same day, she's not earning enough to afford the rent for an apartment, childcare for her children, fuel for her vehicle, and all of the other expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Absolutely. And I want you to tell me if you see the same thing, Sherry, because I'm in a lot of the
Right.
health groups, and I see
Hmm.
so many people that were because I have the same numbers for shelters or for, resources, but I'm
Hmm.
really seeing whether it's, you need help with a security deposit to get a new place, or you need some utility assistance. And what I'm seeing is that even these places either have extremely long waiting times, or they are out of resources themselves. If this is this really an epidemic with even these agencies being out of resources as well?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. Of course, you see the numbers, and I'm sorry, my allergies are not being my friend this morning. I keep rubbing my nose. Um, we see the numbers that, of course, the media puts out: $1 million to this company, this
Mhm,
organization, 500,000 to this organization. And yes, there are funds out there. There are larger organizations that are that have access to funds. But when you're dealing with those upper level organizations, the larger organizations, those funds have to be allocated in certain places.
mhm,
So whereas, you hear, oh, this organization got $1.5 million, that $1.5 million may only be earmarked for this one need.
mhm.
It may
Right,
only be earmarked for down payment assistance or for, rental assistance, but the stipulations are the family must then need to be able to confirm or prove that they can afford their rent going forward.
right.
So whereas an organization like, there's a couple of organizations that do the motel to home program.
Mhm.
They're sitting on money. But the problem is the families that qualify for those funds that would assist in moving them from the motel to the home
Mhm.
don't earn the 2.5 times the rent. So they're not getting approved for the apartments. They're not getting approved. So that money is just sitting there, and it can't be used for the hotels. It can't be used for the utility payments. It can't be used for transportation because those grant funds were earmarked specifically for down payment assistance for you to, and it's frustrating
Yeah.
because we're seeing these numbers on the television. We're seeing, oh, XYZ got a grant for all this money, but you just passed by a family of 5 sleeping at a bus stop. And it's
Absolutely.
why? Why? And the question is constantly why, and it's one I ask all the time. And I understand the answers. I don't like them.
Mhm.
So instead of complaining about it, I said, well, heck, I'll do something about it. I'll start crowdfunding. I'll start talking to my community, making people aware that, and I get that a lot. I get that, oh, well, you can have them call this organization. And then
Ooh,
I have to explain to them, if they call that organization, they will be put on a waiting list with
yes.
several thousand other individuals. That family will still be hungry tonight. That family will still be sleeping in their car tonight. There is no instant help. And that's what Blessing Bags of Warmth hopes to be able to continue to offer is
Wow.
instant help. If you call me and say you're hungry, here's food. This is where you can get additional food, but here's a meal right now. You're hungry
Right.
now. Let me feed you now. And then let me provide you with the resources, 2 additional food pantries in the community, 2 additional soup kitchens. And then let's talk about your budget. Let me teach you how to
Right.
shop the clearance section of Kroger.
Right. Throw something together real quick.
Go. There you go. Like I gotta teach you. You
Wow.
got you got a box of sweet potatoes, girl. Let me teach you how to make more than a sweet potato pie.
Right. Right. Wow. 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 Wow, Miss Sherry. I really am like you really are a gem. You really are, because people don't think like you. People would literally want to help people by giving them a number or
Mhm.
sending them somewhere. And most of these families are suffering from transportation issues. You know, they got health issues to where they can't even get to the resources that you may be trying to send them. And it
That's
literally takes the kindness and care of other people to get up out of their beds and go and do something, get some food from your refrigerator that you can afford to give, or, you know, if you got old things that you can help with, you know, to set up their house. But
right.
it's it's it's
High school.
awesome. And so how
Well,
do you prioritize, Miss Sherri, families that probably are tugging on you day in and day out? Like, Miss Sherri, we
mhm,
need food, we need assistance.
mhm.
Miss Sherri, I need clothes, I need school supplies. How do you prioritize that?
Well, speaking of prioritize, I had to prioritize going to the food pantry and picking up food over this live. And as you can see, I didn't do a very
Mhm.
good job of prioritizing it, did I?
Look, the people come
but,
first.
but I'm sorry, I'm opening this up here so we can get the truck unloaded here.
Okay.
Um, so basically, it's very difficult to do. It truly is. There is, I do not, yes, you can come in. Sorry. um, honestly, the priorities, okay, you guys are getting ready to see me get emotional here. Um, I prioritize the safety of, and it's hard to do when there is the resource to do that is not available.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, getting a call at 2 o'clock in the morning that a mother has a 10-month-old and she's sleeping outside, and I have no way to help her is just, I mean, so priority is always families with children.
Mm-hmm.
As funds allow, if there's an individual that needs help, then we help. But there's just so many families with children that, you know,
Right.
I just
Absolutely.
I that's a hard one to answer, because
Yeah.
of course I prioritize every call that comes in. If it's a mom and she's like, I've got, yeah, 4 kids, and we're sleeping in my car, or I don't know where I'm going to go, I'm homeless, I'm on the street, or you know sometimes I get the calls where it's like, you know uh, the abuse calls.
Mm.
um, I'm very fortunate, and it's one thing I'm constantly telling other organizations. If you know of other small organizations that's doing grassroots, foot on the ground, boots on the ground work,
Mm-hmm.
work together with them. I'm so excited. I love the fact that I can call LaWanda Jordan a feet of clay if I have a mom that calls me and she's escaping domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
LaWanda knows what to do in those situations. I'm excited that I can call Cindy Smith of the Elite Dolls of Faith, you know, and say, hey, what are we going to do? We've got a family that's hungry and she can help me find food. I love that I can call Christy and Ellie and Lori with Giving Grace and say,
Mm-hmm.
guys, we've got, you know, so although we all try to prioritize, I can tell you at one time or another, we have all said the same thing. We just don't have enough.
Mm.
There's too much need and not enough resources. There's too much need and not enough, just not enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, getting back to a lighter side of things, what are some
Mhm.
success stories that you've seen where you've been able to help,
Oh,
and that help has been able to rocket launch your family
oh
back
my
into
God.
stability?
I wish that I had so many awesome success stories. I do have some success stories.
Mm-hmm.
I have, to date, I know of about 15 or 20 families that
Mm-hmm.
I personally helped that have been able to get apartments, that
Awesome.
are living. And that's really the best way to say it. They are living. We're still in a very volatile economic climate. So even though those families are no longer on the street, It is
Mhm.
still a struggle for them to make sure they're putting food on the table to, and that's why we have another program called the Keep in Touch program. I try to call and keep in contact with every single family I have helped. If it's just one time
Mhm.
or for 6 months, I try to make sure that I reach out to them and say, how are you guys doing? Is everything okay? And sometimes I get the call back that I don't like.
Mhm.
I had a mom and two kids. She was doing great, had a house, everything was going wonderful, and a cut in her hours at work, and she was right back where she started last year.
Wow.
And it's just that simple thing. I had another family doing great in an apartment. I get the call, Miss Sherri, they're evicting us. And that hurts.
Yeah.
When you watch these families pull themselves completely from rock bottom to this place of happiness, this place of joy. The children are enjoying their new schools because a lot of them can't go back to the same communities that they were evicted from. So now
Mhm.
they're in new schools, complete start over. The kids are happy. We got clean clothes, we got our lights. And then you hear, oh, my child got sick and I missed 3 days of work.
Mm.
And when I missed the 3 days of work, I didn't have enough to pay the light bill. I had to choose between the rent and the lights. So now our lights are cut off. Or my husband got sick, because I do work. I don't just, a lot of people are under the misinformation that I only work with single mothers. No,
Mhm.
I work with families. I work with people. I don't care how young you are. I don't care how old you are.
Mhm.
I'm going to work with you. And so I have worked with families where both parents were in place, but the husband got sick. The mother couldn't handle the mortgage on her own. They ended up losing the property. They were living in hotels, and next thing you know, their car broke down. So they couldn't pay. They were having to catch. I mean, just there's so many times it's a domino effect.
Mhm. I was just thinking that. Yep.
So what I try to do is get to the root cause of the depravity. Let's get to what started. What was the first domino? What was the
Mhm.
first one? Let's see
Mhm.
what did it. Okay, good. We've got the first domino. Now let's start stacking them back up again. Because
Absolutely.
unfortunately, life is a domino game. And guess what? The wind will come along and it may knock a few more down, but it's my goal to provide them with what it's going to take to know when to stop your foot. Let's stop them from falling.
Right.
So I provide those resources so that if, once you get back on your feet, okay, you're back on your feet, you're doing good. What can we do?
Right.
And if you get to the point where, oh no, my electricity, I can't pay it. Oh, that's right. Miss Sherri told me about Partnership for Community Action. Let me
Mhm.
see if they can help me out. Oh, that's right. This isn't working good, or oh, that's right, Miss Sherri. And that's really the goal, is to keep that going, keep those resources going, keep that thought process going of, I'm not going to completely fall again. That's
Absolutely.
really what it is. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. And so I know you are in the middle of getting food, Miss Sherri, so I'm not going to keep you long. But how can the community be of service to you? Because, just like myself, I
Mm,
know that I'm not nearly as visible as I would like to be. And I
right.
know that you would also want to be more visible to see if you can get donations,
Mm,
fundraising efforts. So, how can people be of assistance that have the same heart that, might not can wake up 2 o'clock in the morning or be in the streets, but they
mhm,
have funds or they have other information? How can they help you?
mhm. Of course, donations are a big one. However, and I know anyone that's watching this right now, they're going to be like, oh my God, Sherri says that all the time. Those with the least give the most.
Mm,
And right now, those with the least have even less.
yep.
Last month, I had about 37 recurring donors, average $15 to $50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
This month, I have 21. The messages that I was given was, Miss Sherri, we can't afford it this month. Miss
Mm,
Miss Sherri, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to donate to you this month. Or Miss Sherri, my sister's in Asheville. I've got to send money to Asheville.
wow.
And we understand. As a matter of fact, I partnered with a couple of other organizations, and we did the same. We were able to send formula, diapers, other items directly to the hardest hit areas, because we do have that heart and we want to help. But we have people right here,
Yeah.
that right here in our city, that need help. So I'm just encouraging people, if you cannot donate financially,
Mm-hmm.
share. We need people to know that there's this crazy girl driving around Decatur, driving around the city of Atlanta, I mean, I've gone as far as Noonan and Gwinnett County, North Gwinnett County. I went to Villa Rica. If someone calls me and they need help and I have the means to help them, then I am going to help.
Absolutely.
So get the word out there. Hey, it's this crazy girl, and this crazy girl knows a whole bunch of other crazy girls and dudes that
Right.
are doing the same, because we're linking up and we're doing what needs to be done to help people. So,
Absolutely. And so if they want to donate, tell
mhm.
them they can donate at.
So we do take pretty much any form of payment. We have our Give Butter, which is www.givebutter.com/hand up 2024. You can donate using any avenue at that link. However, we also take Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, and even Cash App. If you just look up Blessing Bags of Warmth on any of those platforms, we are a certified 501(c)(3) organization. Your donations are tax deductible.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Okay. And how can they find you on social media?
Google Blessing Bags of Warmth. You'll probably see a picture of me or our logo that is blue and red. It's a picture of a little girl handing a person sitting on the ground a bag that is actually a representation from a picture of Rose handing out her very first blessing bag back in 2020.
That is so awesome. So I just want to give you another thank you, Miss Sherri, for joining us today and sharing your heart and where your passion come from and what you
Of course.
do, because there's not a lot of people like you and we do need more. So thank you so much, Miss Sherri. Do you want to leave us with any parting words before we go?
If you see someone doing something like this, help.
I know
Offer
that's
to
right.
help. Be a volunteer. Shout out to my volunteers back there that have come to help unload the truck so that we can serve more people.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Miss Sherri. Of course, I'm gonna always be on your lives, and if there's anything that I can do, I will definitely help. But thank you so much for everything you do.
Of course, of course. Thank you. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Have a great day.